For marketing food online, and I'm going to give you 5 things that you should not do in order for your food business to be a success when you just get started. All right, so you have your idea for your food business and your food product. So you want to get started, but I'm going to give you 5 things. These are actually 5 lessons I kind of learned actually the hard way. Not actually kind of, I actually did learn them the hard way. When I first started my first retail bakery, some of the things that I kind of jumped into without giving it a little more thought. And there were lessons that I definitely learned the hard way, but they were always, as I always say, they're always lessons that I could definitely build on, and over the past decade or so have been able to look back on and have been appreciative of the fact that I actually made those mistakes and learned from them, because that's always going to happen. But I want to give you little 5 tips, and these are not in any specific order, but they are definitely little bits of information that may help you get your food business up and running. So let's get started. Let's jump right into it. And of course, as always, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we've got over 580 videos now. To help you get your food business started online, or maybe in retail stores, maybe even a food business from home in the cottage food law as well. So hit that little red button, get subscribed, and always hit the bell notification so every new video you will get notified that we have up and running. So let's jump right into it. I like to always get to the point, not waste your time. Number 1, okay, this is a big one, and it's something that you don't have to be super good at. You may have never even written one, and that's perfectly fine, but you don't want to start a food business without having a written business plan, okay? I have a video, and I'll put it at the end of this video, a link to what would be part of your business plan when you create a food business. The reason why, there's a couple of benefits, and it's really more psychological than anything, but the reason why you want to sit down, think about it, and think it through is by writing out a business plan. It's going to give you kind of a roadmap as to where you are, what you want to do, and then how are you looking to get there, okay? Now that I have the business that I've got now, we do have a business plan that I wrote quite some time ago, which really set up a handful of goals, a better understanding of what we were doing, being online, having a 100% e-commerce business online with no longer having a retail store. It's a different type of business model, and that was something that I was able to learn from when I sat down and thought about the pros and the cons, the differences between having a retail store compared to actually having an e-commerce business. It operates much differently, of course. But the business plan is really for you. And when I say psychologically, when you can go back to it, understand that you can manipulate, you can kind of play, you can adjust your business plan as your time goes on. As years go on, your goals will be different, and maybe the things that you're looking to do with your company will change and they'll evolve, and that's normal. But it's going to give you a really good foundation for you to understand, okay, this is where I'm starting from, this is what I want to sell, how am I going to sell it, who's my competition, and then so on and so on. So the first thing off the bat you don't want to do, don't start a food business without having a plan. But you can definitely change it down the road. Nothing's in stone. You can definitely make adjustments to it, and that's always a good thing. You should be adjusting because you should be growing as time goes on. Number 2, if you have a food recipe, test it, and then test it again. Here's what I mean. Obviously, you have a great recipe for a product that you want to turn into a business. That's why you are watching my channel. Now, having a recipe and making a business from it, though, that's 2 different things. Having a recipe that is really good and gets a lot of accolades and everybody jumps up and down and pats you on the back and says it's great is a good place to start, but that's not necessarily going to turn into success and money when you start to sell the product. So, as an example, you have I always keep a whole bunch of stuff behind me here. You have a hot sauce, right? You have a hot sauce and it turns out great. Test it, not on your family and friends, but try to find people maybe at work that's not exactly your friend or your family to get really honest feedback. Why do I say that? Because quite honestly, family and friends lie and they're going to want to be nice to you, and they're going to tell you that, oh, this is fantastic, you should make a business out of it. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. And I say that jokingly that they're lying to you, by the way. But test it on people who are not your friends and family. Those are going to be raw customer feedbacks, to be honest with you. Those are the people that you want. And you don't want to start a food business without getting a perception of how people really see your food product. Your mom and your dad, your aunt and your uncle, your cousins and your kids, they're always going to tell you that it's really good unless you have one of those honest family members who tell you that it sucks. But Test your recipe. If you have to, bring a batch of fried chicken or some chicken wings or even something, and take your hot sauce, if it happens to be a hot sauce, put your hot sauce on it and bring it into work for luncheon or something like that. Get some people who are just acquaintances, people who are coworkers. Say, hey, I'm looking to start a little side business. Let me know what you think of this. Get feedback and test the recipe over and over. When you are set and you feel comfortable, then you can go to the next step, okay? Now, number 3, I would highly recommend that you please, please, please do not invest all of your money up front. Do it incrementally. Do it little by little. You want to have a big vision for your business, but you want to take baby steps to that bigger vision. Don't invest all of your money at once. I did that actually with our retail bakery, and it was not the best decision on the planet. But again, I learned from it. It didn't kill me, and I'm here today, and I'm successful with what I do. But it has taken, of course, years to get back to where we are now. But do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Please take my advice. Just invest little by little. And if you can stay away from using credit cards and other types of loans without a proven recipe or a proven track record of sales, don't do that right up front. Now, I'm not telling you not to invest your money at all. If you have some money on the side, or if you want to use a little bit of your credit cards to do that, just be very sparing. I'm going to tell you the truth. When you buy something and you've got 15 to 20 or 30% interest on it, when you're trying to make a margin and your margins are 10, 12, 15%, you're going to have kind of an offset where you're not going to be able to pay back that credit card and you're not making any money, and it's kind of going to be a really bad spiraling thing that you don't want to get into. So please do invest money, but do it in really small increments, okay? All right, next up, do not rely on one source for your sale of your product. What do I mean by that? If you want to be online, great. Then like I said over and over, and this is what we do, we now have probably a dozen so different sources of income with our food products. I don't rely on Etsy. I don't rely just on eBay. I don't rely just on our website. I don't rely just on Amazon. I don't rely on them. I rely on all of them, okay? Remember to keep that in mind. Do not, if you're going to start a food business, do not think, hey, I'm going to open a website and then in the next couple of months, I'm going to be selling thousands and thousands of dollars of my product. It ain't going to happen, okay? That's just not how it works. Even if you open a website, I've always given the advice to never actually open a website at first. You should be on one of those platforms online. Same thing goes if you're a cottage food operator. Don't get frustrated over the fact that the local farmer's market, the one farmer's market that you've been to, has sucked and you don't have a lot of sales. And I'm sorry to be blunt, but I'm just going to be. Go to at least 10 or 12 different farmers markets, not at the same time, but you got to keep hitting up a bunch of different farmers markets. If you could get your product in a local store, if it's a grocery chain, ask them how many stores they have. Don't rely on one store. Don't rely on one chain. Don't rely on one farmer's market. If you have a chain of supermarkets, say, hey, look, I can fill up at least 10 of these stores or 5 of them to start with. Do it. Don't. When you start a food business, don't rely upon one individual farmer's market event. That's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth and you're going to get discouraged. Don't do that. You've got to hit up 10 or 12 of them and you're going to get 3 of them that are going to be amazing. And the other 7 may just be horrible. That's part of the process. We had 9 stores, retail stores in a city that we're in. And we had to do samples on every single one of them. There was 2 of the stores that were amazing. And I'll be honest with you, the other 7 were kind of a waste of time, to be honest. So there's only going to be a certain amount that's going to be successful for you. And you need to hit up as many as you can. It's a lot like I've said this in videos before. Being an actor, you don't go to one single audition and then you get turned down and then your acting career is over. That's the stupidest mentality. That's not a positive mentality. That is a mentality that was never going to reach any type of success. You need to focus on hitting as many auditions, well, if you're in a retail food business, as many stores, as many farmers markets. Keep going. But again, don't rely on one single source of your income. Now, number 5, and I'll wrap it up, all right, because I'm reaching my 10-minute mark, and I know you guys are probably falling asleep. I hope you're not. Taking notes is what I hope you're doing. Number 5, do not start your own website if you want an e-commerce business. Right off the bat, it's a waste of time and money. And I tell you that from experience. When I started, I went to eBay, okay, and I did pretty good. I did okay. Wasn't amazing. went to Etsy, and back then this was actually, we've been selling on Etsy for, it's almost been about, since 2011, so about 8 years. So the first year on Etsy was not all that great. The second year of Etsy was really good. So I realized that then I needed to open my own website. And I did that because I wanted to use Etsy and use eBay to get people to come to my site. You can't just create a website right off the bat, and I highly recommend you don't do that. Don't. You can have it in mind, but don't think that you're going to get traffic, and that traffic's going to turn into people buying stuff. That's not how it works. So create yourself an e-commerce presence, but then incorporate your own site. So don't, when you first start a food business, the last one, number 5, do not make a website right off the bat and then cross your fingers and hope that you're going to make sales. So with that being said, I hope those 5 things kind of just wake you up a little bit to some of the things that you shouldn't do. And of course, obviously, some of the things you should do that you should stay away from not doing. So if you guys need any help as well, the consulting, do let me know. And in a couple of seconds, right up here, I'm going to pop up some other videos. These videos are additional resources to what I am actually speaking to you about here on the video. You can click on some of those fantastic videos and continue watching, getting some additional information and more details about those specific things in regards to business plans and testing recipes and such. Okay? So if the video was helpful as always, please do give me a big thumbs up. And I want to thank you guys, by the way, for subscribing and supporting my channel. We are almost at our 14,000th subscriber, which for us is actually pretty cool. And as always, if you guys need anything, just ask me down in the comments section. See you on the next video.